What's up, guys? Today we're going to make a little fun video and ask the question, who would win in a fight between Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead and Joel Miller from The Last of Us video games? And we will probably do a fourth round here, adding Joel Miller from the TV show to compare to Rick from the show. So let's get into it. First off, let's talk about the four fights themselves. Which versions of these characters are we using here? Well, I think the first fight will come to Prison Rick, aka season 1 through mid 4 of Rick Grimes, versus pre-Ellie Joel Miller. Now, if I'm being honest here, I think I kind of have to give the edge to Joel. And the reason why I say this is because in the series, it's applied Joel has done a lot of terrible things. And it kind of adds up that Joel he still kind of has this darker edge that Rick doesn't have at this point. Rick has, this darkness. He's a very capable fighter, but you have to remember, we saw Rick got his ass beat by the governor. Remember, Rick didn't kill the governor. That's an important fact I think some people actually skip out on. Rick didn't kill the governor. In fact, he wasn't even the one who landed the blow that got him off the governor off him. It was Michonne. Literally, Rick had to get an assist from Michonne in order to freaking, of course, kill the governor, which, by the way, was killed by his fucking girlfriend at the time. So Rick he can't even take on a guy with one eye. And Rick has been shown time and time again to get captured pretty easily at this point. So if I'm being honest, Prison Rick versus pre-Ellie Joel, I'm going to have to give the edge to Joel. Now, here's where things get really crazy when you think about it. Now we're talking about post-Terminus Rick versus pre-Ellie Joel. Now, you got to give it to Rick here. And here's why. Because this is the Rick who is in absolute savage mode. Like, period. He is... Like, we always kind of seen, like, the switch, happen, especially before he went to Terminus. They had to deal with the Claimers, if you guys recall that, and how he just ripped that guy's throat out with his freaking bare teeth. Yeah, that's the Rick Joel's going up against. And if I'm being fucking honest here, it's really hard for Joel to overcome that savage nature. This is the Rick who just does not give a crap. He does not give a crap about his own well-being. The only thing he cares about is protecting his friends and family. And even then, some of those people seem sometimes to be a little bit optional. And the only people he seems to have a core, care about is Carl, Glenn, Maggie, and Judith. Everyone else is kind of optional, if we're being honest here. Yeah, he cares about Carol and Daryl, but they're so capable as fighters themselves that he doesn't really worry about them. Remember, when Daryl and Carol disappear, he doesn't make it a priority to go find them. He makes it a priority to be like, hey, no, we need to stay here, and, so if they do come back within, a reasonable amount of time. Now, the thing about pre-Ellie Joel is, we have to kind of go into this bit of his backstory that's been applied. This Joel is dangerous. Like, this is the man you do not want to cross. This is the man that will fucking have a gun underneath his freaking, his thigh if he has a chance. The thing about this Joel is, though, he's reasonable. He's someone who can be reasoned with. He's shown time and time again at this point he can handle himself, but he's also someone who kind of still follows. Remember, in the freaking games, he's kind of just following Tess in the first, bit before he meets Ellie. And even then, it's kind of applied. He's only taking Ellie to the freaking Fireflies because he actually was, like, kind of following Tess's last will until he got to know Ellie more. So then we get to, I guess you would say, Alexandria Rick. Well, actually, so this is kind of the weird one here because really, Alexandria Rick and Joel are not, they're not much different. Sorry, Joel, I meant, post-Terminus Rick. They're pretty much the same person. So, honestly, I think round 3 is actually going to have to be season 9 Rick versus post-Ellie Joel. Now, this is something that I think is going to be crazy because I don't think these two would fight then. I think at this point, Rick's character is all about trying to find the better in people. He's trying to get, have that kind of hopeful nature that he has in the comics. But at the same time, Joel he really isn't much of a fighter at this point. After Ellie comes into the picture, yes, it's applied he's done some crazy shit, like taking out a bloater almost single-handedly. So he could be a better fighter, but I don't think Joel would actively seek a fight. In fact, all these scenarios, I don't think he would really seek a fight, but like we're playing them like, they conflicted and they're beating the shit out of each other, who wins. But I think if these two had, like if they actually met each other at this point, like I said, season 9 Rick, post Ellie Joel, I honestly think they would get along pretty well. Actually, scratch that. I think they would get along great because when you think about it, post Ellie Joel, it's kind of a lot like Daryl, especially after Merle's death, if you recall that whole situation. So honestly, I feel like this one would basically be a tie. Neither of them would try to kill each other, and they would try to find some kind of compromise. They would try to find some kind of way to coexist with each other. Rick in the prison arc, he was kind of doing that, but once the governor did what he did to Herschel, that shit went out the window quickly. So yeah, I'm gonna have to get this one as a tie. So the last round is the fourth round, and we're talking TV show Joel. And I'm going to be honest, I think we're going to put him against Rick in general. So, who wins this fight? Honestly, see, this was hard. Because there are things that the TV show Joel has that the game Joel didn't have. For example, it's implied that he has hearing problems. He has a problem with one of his ears. So he doesn't hear as well. That's how, Sam and Henry got the jump on him and Ellie when they were sleeping. Because he literally could not hear them. Like, it was just like, it just skipped him until like Ellie was like, oh, Joel, wake the fuck up. Some guy's got a gun pointed at you. So, and then it's also implied that Joel's actually older in the show than he is in the game. So it's like, this Joel has a couple more handicaps going against him, but I'm going to say this is probably why this show, is, in my opinion, sometimes better, is that this Joel, we don't see him fight as much. Remember, in a video game, we're controlling the character. He does crazy-ass feats, and it's all within reason that he could do. So it's like, who wins this fight? Who wins this fight between TV show Joel and the entire series Rick Grimes? Honestly, I think I have to give the edge to Rick. Mostly because when you think about it, Rick, he still has that dog in his fight. Like, CJ Champ would say, he's got that dog in his fight. But it's like, Joel doesn't have as many advantages at this point, in this comparison, compared to Rick. I know I'm like kind of have a lot of dead air in this. I'm putting all my thoughts together here because like, honestly, it's pretty fucking close. Like, at the end of the day, if you were asking me who's the more capable fighter between Rick Grimes and Joel Miller from the game, I'm going to say Joel Miller. Not because of the video game aspect, but like because we actually see Joel do some crazy-ass fights. And you have to remember, Rick does get his ass beat quite a bit. And remember earlier how I mentioned Rick looked out his lucky stats? Well, I want you guys to recall Terminus. If Carol did not attack Terminus, and like, remember, because Carol was a wild card, all this. Like, I think even fans kind of forgot she was even still out there. So it's like, no one thought Carol could do what she did. And honestly, if Rick didn't, get lucky as he did, I think he would have been dead. Now, yes, there was, you could make the argument that he was trying to get his way out because he had that piece of, I think it was metal or wood. He was trying to cut the handcuffs, whatever they use, zip ties, whatever. But it's like he wouldn't have enough time to do that because even after the first wave of the attack, it still took him a while to get that thing loose and break. So honestly, I don't think he would have made it out of Terminus if Carol wasn't such a wild card in the whole thing. So that's my thoughts on this whole fight. At the end of the day, I love both these characters. I don't want them to fight. This is like watching Ellie and Abby fight. I just don't want to see them fight. I want these two to hug it out. I want them to, be like, yo, man, yeah, I'm an asshole. I killed your daddy, and your daddy killed my daddy. So can we just, like, live on the different sides in the country and just never see each other again, please? Like, that's what I would prefer if, if I had the choice of the outcome. So what do you guys think of my I guess you would say, my thoughts on all this. Do you think Joel Miller would take more victories? Do you think Rick would take more victories? Or do you think Carol will come in and save Rick at the last second? Or Daryl? Or Ellie? Well, that's those other wild cards right there themselves. So until next time, guys, this is That PlayStation Gamer. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all the YouTube algorithm BS. I'm going to go down and sit down and watch some more freaking Walking Dead because I've been binge watching the shit out of it lately. On season 5 now. Peace.